In this video we'll have a quick look at the slider control, data bound, and we'll see that the slider message isn't being updated when the UX is first loaded, so we'll just go ahead and refresh this. And you can see that the slider message is still showing a value of 0, and yet the slider data value, because it's data bound, actually has a value. And if I just move along, we'll see that moving through the records does pull forward the correct value for the slider, but it's not updating the message. So now let's go and have a look at how we can change this behavior. Here we're looking at the UX. This is the client-side on-render complete event. I had this commented out, so now what we'll do is we'll just put this back in play. So we're going to go into the current value of the slider control. We're setting up an object with a couple of properties, and we're passing that into the alpha method, paint slider message, underbar paint slider message. We're passing through the object that we created, the name of the control, and what we want to set up, and that's the quantity, and then we're passing the value through the S object. So with that in play, let's save that. And we'll refresh the control, the rendered control, and we see that our quantity is being updated now, and of course that's always been effective. And now if we go to the next record, we'll see that that still isn't working because that's not been tied in. So it's just refreshing this. Is now showing a quantity of 7. So let's go and have a look how we can tie in the record selectors as well. What we'll do here is we'll go and look at our after Ajax callback event. Once again, it's client side. So once the callback happens, because we're looking for and getting another record value, is we're going to look for an XBasic function name of system populate controls from table. That's actually what's coming back in the Ajax callback when we get our data. And then we're going to run a JavaScript function called update slider message, and we're just going to wrap this in a set timeout of a couple of hundred milliseconds. Now you can change this depending on what you actually need to have happening. Your system may be faster, your server may be faster or slower, so you may have to adjust this a little bit. But we are calling this update slider message function, so let's go and have a look at this now. And the update slider message function wasn't doing anything, and so now we're going to turn this back on. And we'll save that. Here we are back in our rendered component. We'll refresh it. So our quantity slider message should be updated automatically still, and it is. And now when we move to another record, you can see that our slider quantity message is being updated appropriately. Now there are a couple of ways you can get this done, so let's look at another method as well. Here we are back in our component. What we'll do is we'll comment out this part, which was updating our slider message, and we'll uncomment this section. And in this section what we were doing, because the slider message is actually being wrapped in a span tag, we can actually go after that span tag and just set its inner HTML value. So we're still getting our value from the slider, and then we're setting up an element. We're going after the element in the DOM, and then we're setting its inner HTML value to whatever we want to set, and that's, in this case, it's going to be quantity S value. So let's save this. Just a couple of ways of getting this done. Whereas underbar paint slider message is actually the way that alpha gets it done. Here we are back in our component. We'll refresh once again because we saved it. There's our rendered on render complete event firing. Our quantity is being updated, and now you can see that it's going ahead as well. So a couple of ways to get that done. Hope that helps. Thanks for having a look.